Master, I bring good news. We have successfully conquered the box office. Soon the entire galaxy will be ours.
You have done well, my apprentice. But I regret to say, it will all be for naught.
What?
You see, there is another. One who has managed to surpass us in not only control of the box office, but with mastery of the dark side. It is only a matter of time until they destroy us. We must fall back and reinforce what little we started with.
But that's impossible. We have absolute dominance. The fans are entirely behind us.
It seems you are still inexperienced. The fans are not behind us. They have turned away from us. They have seen through our use of the dark side and fallen to the sway of another. We have no choice. Return to Orlando.
But who? Who could have such a mastery of the dark side to surpass us?
Smoldering intensity. Damn, that is a man right there.
How did this happen? Star Wars The Last Jedi is terrible. It may be well made, but hands down, this is the most poorly written and boring entry in the Star Wars franchise to date. I'll get what little is good out of the way first. The visuals are fantastic, the movie is well made, and the acting is solid, and special props to Carrie Fisher and Mark Hamill. They're hands down the best actors in the entire film. But everything else, ugh. The movie's biggest sin is that it's just boring. I mean, I was just sitting in my seat completely bored out of my mind throughout almost the entirety of the film. The only part that really pulled me back in was the climax on this mineral planet, and even then, I really couldn't care less about what was going on until Luke showed up at the very, very end. It also destroys all the goodwill that The Force Awakens had built up for itself. It does this by just taking all the mystery that the first film had built up and then just gives us either disappointing payoffs or doesn't bother explaining anything. For instance, Supreme Leader Snoke, we don't know anything about him. We know he's an extremely powerful Force user, but we don't know how he became that powerful, where he came from, what he really is. Instead, he's no longer that intimidating yet calm menace we saw in The Force Awakens. He's now just a cranky granddad that's really arrogant. And Rey? Here's a minor spoiler for you. Turns out her parents were just a bunch of drunkards that sold her off so they could get some money to buy some more alcohol. That is her origin. It also doesn't help that the movie is just full of melodrama. Scenes that require more subtlety instead of just more over the top, and scenes that should be over the top are just more played down. And compound this with some incredibly unfunny humour and you're not going to have a good time here. The Force Awakens had humour, yes, but believe it or not, that actually kind of worked. Well, there were times where it did feel a little out of place. There was never a time where it wasn't enjoyable or arguably funny. Here, the two just never mesh and you're just left, well, bored. In fact, the one scene in the entire movie that wasn't even intended to be funny, that had everybody laughing, wasn't actually a scene. It was just a camera shot, an extreme close-up of Snoke's dead face. No joke, the entire theatre laughed at seeing that. But let's also not forget that it's also full of plot holes and inconsistencies. Like, once again, we've got Snoke's origin, that's not explained, and then all of a sudden he's just killed off. But there's also stuff like Leia now able to use the Force. When did that happen? Luke getting his ass beat by Rey. How was that working? Why did Luke die at the end? That's not really explained. There's all these things that just don't make sense. With The Force Awakens, again, it made sense because, well, enough time had passed and you also knew that there was expanded universe material to go with some things hinting at that. Here, there's no hints or anything. There's just no real adequate explanation. And you're just left scratching your head going, how did all this end up like this? If you're a Star Wars fan, you have every right to be angry and disappointed at this movie. And to me personally, I'm now actually really worried about the future of Star Wars under Disney, considering that the writer and director of this is now in charge of the next trilogy. The Last Jedi is not worth checking out. Save your money for something else, maybe buy a Blu-ray of the original or prequel films, or better yet, maybe save your money for the disaster artist when it comes out. That's going to be awesome, and at the very least, it's not going to contradict what came before it, like this movie does.
Hey, thanks for checking out this review, I really do appreciate it. Sorry it took so long to get out there. Things have been really hectic in my life lately, and let me tell you, 2018 has been off to a stressful start. Anyway, if you really did like the review, then feel free to also like, favorite, and subscribe, and also feel free to follow me on Minds and Gab for updates on future videos. Up next, I'm going to review Bright and the Cloverfield Paradox. In terms of game reviews, I'll have reviews of Elex, and then later on, Kingdom Come Deliverance, as soon as possible. I'm also thinking about doing some Let's Plays more commonly, so I'll see how that goes as well. I got all of that and more coming up, so, like usual, don't forget to stick around.